What am I longing? What am I longing for? I'm gonna tell you right here, right now.
All of us catch hell from the same enemy. We're all in the same bag, in the same boat. We suffer political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. All of them from the same enemy. The government has failed us. You can't deny that.
Can't deny it.
Anytime you live in the 20th century, 1964,
21st century now.
We shall overcome.
Yep.
And the white liberals who have been posing as our friends have failed us. And once we see that all these other sources to which we've turned have failed, we stop turning to them and turn to ourselves. We need a self-help program.
Yes, and here we are with the self-help program. Greetings, Hotel Aquaba. Welcome, bless up, and welcome Black to the recovery room of racism non-anonymous, that revolutionary 12-step self-help program that has been uniquely designed with you and me, the African, in mind, first and foremost, designed to support our healing and recovering from the shit, aka the Ma'afa. The shit is traumatic stress of the human intentional type. The Ma'afa is the great suffering of Africans at the hands of Europeans, and that's in a nutshell description of how Dr. Ani languaged the Ma'afa. Maafa, Ma'afa, the great suffering of our people at the hands of Europeans. I am Sis Abana Africa, the recovering African who is still, yes, very much culturally enslaved here in America. And I am a representative from the voices in the margins. True, I am to the cause of African liberation, first and foremost, via unification, utilizing the tool of healthy and effective communications. I am a traumatized traumatologist, trauma queen, yes, and queen of trauma. And that is the trauma and traumatic stress, understanding what it is, how it has and continues to work in the lives of not just African descendants, I know, yet how it continues to manifest itself in the lives of people. I'm going to say people who consider themselves human in a body that has, how many systems. If I had my laptop, here it is. No, my tablet right at hand. You can just ask Google, what it is you need, and or I could go over here and ask my helper. I have a helper nowadays, called Chat GPT. In such a time as these, in such a time as these, I have sort of had to rely on developing support systems outside of myself, and the current support systems, they call it AI, artificial intelligence. However, I really like artificial intelligence right now for me and what I'm using it for and how it's working for me. In that Okay, my cats are doing something they're not supposed to be doing right now. I hear my cats doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So please forgive my brief interruption. Respecting the senses. Respecting I have good sense. You better get your butt out of there right now. I'm gonna have to go over there. So I may have to put you all on a music tune for a moment because what they are messing with is not something that they ought to be messing with. And so, yeah, I was saying anyway, before I was so kind of rudely interrupted by my cat business. Yeah. I'm who is that dude? JD Vance calls a quote unquote cat woman as a widow. I have cats. I have a black cat as well. Lucky, Mr. Lucky, my black male cat. And I have an oddball, a calico, female. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. Of course, what I do want to talk about tonight in tonight's meeting. This is an RNA meeting. Somebody may come over here now that they're finished messing in my other room here. See, this is a self-help program. So it's about focusing on myself first and myself first as a Black woman. That's where my focus is. I have been told over time, in over a course of time, in previous chapters in my life, right? It has always been suggested to me that I focus my energies on Black women and that other folks saw me as having the ability to, identify, I wonder why, identify and connect with Black women issues, the issues that Black women experience. So that's starting with self. Yes, I for a moment in my life, I became involved in selling insurance. And as an insurance agent and in the training process thereof. And just for the record, the trainers were all males, one male of African descent, and the others were um Latino, one was Latino, and I don't know the other white skinned folks. Excuse me, of course, the head of the organization, the insurance practice that I became involved with, the head, he was a Caucasian male. At any rate, the trainers, the males, they, suggested to me that I would be good for connecting with Black women. That would be an appropriate market for me, right? And again, I suppose that because I'm a Black woman, so I can identify with the issues of Black women, and that's true. And in the process of healing and recovering, it is always, for me, always about focusing on self first, focusing on myself. That's the work. Learning how to slow down and close these eyes and not look at all the shit out here in the world and just go inside me. Mm-hmm. And here comes Miss Oddball. That's the one who's been messing around. And because it sees, cats have an inner knowing. She knows I'm doing something that I do not want to be interrupted in at the moment. So now she wants to bring her little self all in my space where she knows she's not supposed to be. Because I had plants. Yeah, it's about growth and change. I had plants in here And cats seem to enjoy destroying plant life. And I'm going to have to move around in order to negotiate in a position where I can get her out of my space. Right now, I'm in a space where I'm in a whole recovery process. I'm gonna just say that for a moment. You know, we're all kind of age-old ailments, we'll call it. And then here comes Mr. Lucky. Now they're both coming in because they know. It seems that they know that I'm involved with something that I am, not able to be interrupted in. And so now they want to come in knowing good and well they're not supposed to be in here. So I have to get up and go fuss at them. I have a heat pad on my knee. I have my knee elevated because of the pain, the arthritis, and all that kind of good stuff. So I have to do some moving around in order to go and round them up and get them up out of my space for the moment. I don't know how well you can hear the music, but I'm just say breathe for a minute in through the nose and tune in. And give me a moment to get rid of my cats. Get your butts up out of here. What are you doing? Get out. You know you're wrong. And where's our ball? Go ahead. Go, Miss Lady. Go. Thank you. You know you're wrong. Go away. The problem for me with the whole issue right here is that I have to close this door, and as a result, I am not able to hear the music in the way that I want to hear my music playing. So that means I have options, of course, and that just means I have to put the music on here in the room. One thing I like about sharing my music, or having it at least in the background for YouTube, it's typically okay. The artists that I listen to seem to be okay with having their music broadcasted. And that's a good thing for me because I love reggae. It's always the reggae. The thing I like about reggae is they ask questions, and I have answers for those questions, and I listen to the answers that they have. And that's where the power is in it. So I am working to get myself repositioned here with my ice pack on my back and my heat pack on my knee. And we're going to end up switching that up at some point during the evening in order to continue to support my healing journey, healing of the body. However, again, that's not what we came to talk about, right? And at this point in life, we just 13 minutes, and that's pretty okay. I'm going to, as I was saying, talking about myself, self-help program, focusing on myself as a Black woman, female, leads me to think about and talk about step one. Okay, so I am an author, right? Racism Non-Anonymous is a revolutionary 12-step self-help program. And it is a program that Malcolm X encouraged us to develop. He encouraged us 60 years ago, back in 1964. And it's here now. Took me 60 years. It took 60 years. I was 4 years old when he said that. And I've had this program developed 30 years ago. I was probably in my late 30s, early 40s when I fully developed RNA. And so this is where we'll start. This is where tonight's meeting is a step one meeting. Step one of Racism Non-Anonymous encourages us to acknowledge that we live in a system where racism, white supremacy is the primary ideological belief system, and that we have been programmed into that system as a result. And as a result, our African lives have become quite unmanageable. More importantly, it seems to me, it's like in the lives of Black women, the Black women in my life, it's like they're they have totally, it's like our African lives have been totally erased from our memories, from our mind, the mindset. That seems to be a key word that people use these days, mindset. Looking at your mindset. And if you have a mindset like this or that. And what I recognize and, have kind of come to see or know in terms of quote unquote what people mean when they say mindset, you really just want to break that down a little bit. Break it down. What is a mindset? It's a set of thoughts in your mind. With your mind, what are the thoughts? What are the thoughts that you hold? What are the beliefs? What are the values? What do you value in life? What's your top three values? Your top three beliefs about yourself, about the world you're in. How about what do you believe about people who are culturally different from you? Mindset. What I have experienced with Black women in my life, what I have learned, what I have learned from Black women in my life, and I'm 64. It's been 64 years of experiences with Black women, starting with my mama, coming from a family of women. My grandmom, my grandmom birthed Uncle Raymond, Mommy, Aunt Marion, Aunt Patricia, and Janetti and Bessie. 6 children, 5 of them females. My grandfather, who became her husband, who was her husband, he had 5 of them girls plus 2 other girls in another relationship prior to marrying my grandmother. So my grandfather produced 7 daughters. So I grew up in a family of women. In short, I would say that a family of women. They were women. Of all those women, even within the generation of us, myself, my cousins, it's dominated by women. One aunt had all male children. One aunt, she had 5 males. My mom had 1 male. Bessie had 1 male and 4 daughters. Patricia had 2 males and 1 daughter. Interestingly enough, that particular daughter happened to be my sister. But that's a whole nother story, right? Black women and they shit because my aunt fucked my father and had a daughter. She became my cousin, my sister slash. We are primarily cousins. How we grew up, though learning in life that we are actually biologically sisters. Black women shit. Can we call that some black women shit? Now, my aunt was a young girl. She was 17, I think, when she got pregnant with my cousin sister. And for me, I most certainly have come to really understand, respect, forgive, even though I don't there's no forgiveness that's needed from me to any of them. My aunt, my mom, and or my dad who did what he did. um I respect it, i.e., I see it. I understand the what, the whys, and all that shit. And so, that's just where that's at for me. At the same time, it does speak to and begin to highlight and or reveal some shit that has gone on in the lives of black women. Kabaka pyramid is in my ear. Talking about another one from the pyramid. Kabaka pyramid again. I mean, this little aside here, real quick. Reggae music and why I like reggae music. And they asked the question. He asked the question: what is the meaning of life if we only get one chance to live and some die as a kid? You had no choice. What's the meaning then of life if that's really true that we have quote unquote one life to live and some die as a kid without a choice? And what's the meaning of life? We get one life to live and then we go off and live eternally with all our brethren. What's the fucking meaning then? Right? Those kind of questions. It's like I like that in the music, the energy, the vibe kind of just keeps it moving, and you can ask those questions. You can join that energy in a safe space, right? So black women and their shit. I am not certain how many black women really stop and think about and look at themselves and the shit they're doing, how they've done what they do, how is it helpful versus how is it hurtful. That's a journey that I've been on and have been engaged in, especially for myself as a social worker, as a Black social worker, who is very active in the communities during the crack addiction, during the 90s, during, 90s and early 2000s. One area I worked in was child welfare. It was early on in the 90s as a CPS social worker. I seek on some sort of regulatory basis. I seek out, I send out energy, and I reflect on what I did with the different families I work with, the children that I work with. I think about those children. I wonder how they're doing. I recognize the areas where I was sort of lacking, where I think to myself and I hold myself accountable for shit that if I knew then what I knew now, and or if some shit was different in my life, I would have made some different decisions for some of those children. I wish I could have been more active in their lives. I would have loved to have been more active in the process of assuring their safety. However, the system was not set up for that to really happen. It wasn't set up for it to really happen. How could I, one person, caseload of 30 families? And when those 30 families, you had over 100 children to be responsible for assuring their safety and their security in life during a period where the community was cracked the fuck up. The community was cracked up, and those children were in the fucking gutters of it. And here I am, this Black social worker coming from the 60s and 70s era with a mindset that I could educate to elevate, with a mindset and a belief that people desired change or recovery or healing or working together. And I found that to not be true. Crack was doing something very different. It was sending a very different message. And my voice, if I just focus on myself, I recognized how my voice was silenced. However, it didn't start in that industry, the silencing of my voice. That began in my family with the women. My oldest sister really was the one who silenced me. When I think about the family dynamics, I think about my aunts, my mom. I had an aunt. She would say she like when they come and get her, just tell them I'ma just tell them I just like to listen to her. I ain't do shit else. I just like to listen to her talk. That was my aunt Marion. She would say that. I would laugh. I would smile and laugh. I laugh now. You see, when they come to get her, just tell them I just like to listen to what she said. So they listened. They liked what I said. They knew that I was speaking truth in a very powerful world, so to speak. Because my mom told me, suggested to me that if if I expressed my voice, said the things that I was thinking and shit I was feeling, if I said that shit out loud out in the world, they would kill me. And I understood why she said that, because I understood that's what they did to Malcolm, Kennedy, Martin, and millions others of us when we speak our truth as Black women. Yeah, they've been working to murder the Black bitch. That's what they call us, Black bitches, on the real high up levels. Check out Sis Vicky Dillard. She'll teach you about that shit. How they talk about our Black asses and Black women up there, on higher levels, societal, that touches into the spiritual, i.e., religion, and how the religions, the Vatican, and all of them stole all these shit, got all these shit from us Black women, us civils who are here. Yeah, they teach us to die. It's a tune playing in the background. They teach us to die. Oh, I wonder why. Oh, mama pick me cry. Yeah, they teach us to die. Woo hoo hoo. Right. So yeah, they stole everything from black women, and black women been fucked up. Turned out turned out like a Mo Olivia the slave got distracted on her way to grandmom's house. She's lost and turned the fuck out. That's been my experience for the most part in my experiences with black women. Family level, communal level. So on the family level, it started with my oldest sister and my generational period. My oldest sister was born in, Karima was born in 56, I think. Yeah, and I was born in 60. She was 4 years older than myself. And during that time period, we understand there were many programs going on, i.e., MK Ultra, wink, 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 MK Ultra. Aside from MK Ultra, with the memes in the movies, commercials, shit that designed to be embedded in your memory banks, cartoons, commercials, television, media, and all those entertainment, media, memes, and how they use those things to trigger sort of mind control. And in our generation, my siblings and myself, in our generation, that was a period, it seems, where there was active work to dismantle the Black family, to dismantle the connections that we had and the abilities that we had to build and work together. Those things begin to be dismantled, and what we were taught was how to compete with each other. And in that competition, it's always about who's at the top. It's about a race for the top. Who gets the recognition in the family, on the broader, in the community, and on the broader society, right? And we end up fighting and competing with each other, putting down each other, engaging in European tactics for power and control. My oldest sister, who was also the oldest grandchild, herself, and I had a male cousin, Toogie. He made his transition several years back. My oldest sister made her transition now with Kareem. Has been 6 years or so, about 6 years, 2019, 2018, or 2019, I think 2018, somewhere 2018 or 2019, sorry. And I'm not sure what just happened. Just thinking about that, thinking about her, and the anniversary of her transition is approaching in December. Her transition happened to be on the same day as my father's birth. So that day, the now December 28th, holds greater significance for me. It marks my father's Earth Day, my sister's transition day. My father has also made his transition a couple of years after his first child, my sister. So anyway, she was the oldest. She was the oldest grandchild, and she was very influential. She's a Virgo, so she's very outgoing, very much an extrovert, and very much that Virgo female energy. Very creative, very artistic, and I supported her endeavors. She had 5 children, 4 girls and a boy. Just like my mom, four girls and a boy, the male being the youngest. However, and yes, so um, yeah, I miss my sisters. I had three. That my mom had four children, five children rather, four girls and a boy. The girls have all made their transition. My brother is still here on planet Earth. However, because of the dynamics in our relationships, there's a disconnect. And, there's been a disconnect for me with all of the family, in large part, my sister, because of her jealousy of me and my intellectual abilities. She had artistic abilities, I had intellectual abilities. She had a family, she had children, I had none. And this is where it hits a major pain spot for me. That hit a major pain spot. So breathe. It's like focus on your breath. Because I touched a part of myself that carries a lot of pain and sadness that I don't have children. Especially because of the dynamic relationship that I make with children. I have made with the children in my family prior to me getting cut off. And that was one of the reasons why she cut me off. And then suggested to the rest of the family, my other sisters and cousins and all of them, what was wrong with me and why their children, her children, and other people's children ought not listen to me. That shit hurt, especially because they all knew and had always, since I was a child and as young children, my mom was the oldest female of my grandparents' children. So, being the elder female, she started having children first. Aunt Marion, my male cousin, she had five males. My mom had five kids. The other ones were younger. My sister, cousin, Robin is about, no, she's 6 years younger than me, something like that. However, we were the group, myself and my other sister, who was a year older than me, we were the babysitters when the sisters got together and went out partying. We were the oldest group of cousins. So we were the babysitters, myself and me and Needy. Me and Needy was the babysitters. My oldest sister, because she was a few years older, she was old enough to go hang out with the younger aunts of the group and, to be a bit more independent than we were. We did a lot of moving around because of my mom's alcoholism, and we were frequently separated from each other. So as a result, what anyway, that was the result. So myself and my other sister, we babysat. We were the babysitters, and during that time, it was always noted how quote unquote good I was with children and how much I loved them and they loved me, the dynamic, the energy, the interaction, the ways that I could talk with children and encourage and help children. And then, of course, when I became a social worker, that skill and those abilities increased in a way that, caused my sisters to become very uncomfortable because their children responded to me differently than they responded to their parents. And that's a thing, it's a normal thing when you have a village raising children. However, that whole dynamic, the village raising children, was taken away from us during the crack epidemic. Yet, right before crack, because that dynamic was starting to be, programmed out of our minds in the 60s and 70s with the music and the messages, the things that were happening on the broader society and what our focus was on. So the notion of the village, started to deteriorate, you know, over the course of the 60s and 70s, so that by the time the 80s hit and crack hit the communities, it was just a mess. It's done. And during that time, those in my generation, they were hooked on crack. I got out of it. I got in, I got out in 1986. A couple of sisters stayed in and stayed in. Because my sister's my brother's still in it. My oldest sister, I don't believe Kareem ever did crack. She went to alcohol and party, and she came out of Islam. And then she moved into, just she was more alcohol based. I don't consider marijuana per se and a similar sort of addictive substance, not in the way that alcohol, cocaine, heroin, pills, and all the other shit affects people. I see marijuana being a lot different. Yet, she smoked marijuana, she drank, she partied. And I think a lot of folks in our generational period during the 90s and 2000, there was a major assimilation into European cultural thought and behavior. And the MLK ultra shit that happened during the 60s and 70s sort of kicked in a way where anyone who talked about revolution or change on the societal level, anybody who spoke about those things were squashed immediately. And that's where my focus was as a Black social worker in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. It was about social justice as an issue for folks of African descent in America was totally suppressed, squashed, and shut up. And the Black women who assimilated into that begin to teach their children, you listen to me, you don't listen to them, they don't know what they're talking about, this was wrong with them, blah blah blah. They got in positions through education, moving up the scale and the ladder, director positions on the communal level. On the communal level, taking up the mantra of being entrepreneurs, because on the communal level, you had your entrepreneur community, business people, and the business tools that they're using are the tools that they have been gained from the European system. And those tools are designed to fuck us up first and foremost. And they act like they don't see that shit and they use them and be fucking us up in the community. Coming with a whole bunch of sugar-coated shit. In the workplace, on the societal level, in businesses, companies, corporations, how they do business. When you look at what business is in European culture in which we live, which we all are beholden to in order to survive, in order to survive, in order to work, to live, to thrive, and survive. These are the things that we have to do. This is how business runs. This is what you do. You have to brand yourself. You have to, they have all, oh, good Lord, learning the business industry is disgusting in some ways. Some ways, not all, not all. Yeah, there are parts of it that's like black people, black people, black people. Can we do we really are we you really want to do that? That's how you be really gonna do shit? And you don't recognize or see how you're hurting? You know, I in the social work arena on the professional level, the shit I have experienced from black women, it's what I've experienced. It's what has supported my marginalization over time, over the years. And I'm at a point now where, you know what, it's not anonymous. I'm tired of holding this shit. I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to talk about the experience of Black women. And I want to talk to Black women and encourage you to look at your damn self and listen and share. Get this shit out of you. Don't take this shit to the grave. Get this shit out. You know it's something wrong. You know fucking something wrong. I don't understand. I had a coworker, black female, some as before my husband passed away. So this started probably back in 2010. When this black child came and was employed on the job, her along with another black woman who was the administrative assistant of the program. Administrative assistants have a lot of power in community-based programs, in community level mental health shit. You know, the administrative assistant has a whole lot of influence and power in those settings. So you have a black administrative assistant, you had this black employee who was hired. The next director of the program, the next level supervisor was a black woman. She was African from, not, where is she from? Akpan, where is she from? Either Nigeria, I don't know if it was Nigeria or Ghana. Ghana, I think. The Akpans, Ghana. Or Thembeka Mason, Thembeka. I think she's Nigerian or Ghana, of African origin. And then over her was a black male, right? Now, the psychiatrist was an Indian dude, well, Indian, in a program, community based. So it was predominantly clients of African descent. And you had your Caucasian mental health people, and you had your drug and alcohol people. I was a drug and alcohol therapist in that setting. So I work with a lot of, you know, the clients who came in with quote unquote drug and alcohol issues. And when this sister was hired, they had fired the white female supervisor. And then they hired this black child and they put her in that supervisor's office, gave her all this position, all this power. She came from the Boule, Black Boule. Her, she was related to a man who was the police chief here in Philadelphia. So this is how I have a sense and an understanding of her background. And as some of the things I remember hearing her talk about her background, she's from Boule community, you know, upper middle class black folk, upper middle class black folk. And yeah, her behaviors between herself and the administrative assistant and Dr. Mason, the director, they really actively got together to really fuck over myself and another DNA therapist who was Caucasian. Yet they worked to fuck over both of us and have us both fired for what? For really, we were good at what we did. We helped our clients. We did our fucking job. Why do you want to come in and just start fucking with us? For what? Intentionally. It was intentional. They came to my mother's funeral. They were not invited. They were not invited. My mom passed my mom passed away when I was working there. I had been there probably 6 to 8 months. And the three of them showed up to my mother's funeral. I didn't invite them. And do you know when I came back to work off of the 5 days leave you get, I came back to work. I had to go in the administrative assistant's office for the paperwork or some shit. When I walk in there, she got my mother's obituary right there on the fucking desk for me to walk in and see. Why? I mean, shit like this I'm talking about. Why? Intentional harm. Your intent was to fucking trigger and harm me. Why do you have my mother's obituary on your fucking desk a week and a half after the goddamn funeral that your ass wasn't even invited to? I mean, they fuck with us. The white girl ended up, she left and she had a lawyer. She sued, she got money and shit. I never did get to that point. I did what shit I did and ended up eventually leaving. Then yeah, they fired me. And I stayed until you gonna fire me for I collect unemployment for a minute, get my shit together. That's what I had to do. And that was in 2010. I think about this. I think about how my sister trashed my fucking name across the family to the point where now that she's gone, I have absolutely no relationship with my family members. My family, they have no relationship with me. I fuck y'all. Stay the fuck over there then. I ain't got time for this shit. I have no relationship with them. On a communal level, on a communal level, I met many black women in the black community. Empress Chi here in Philly was the sister with the bean pies who was supposed to, we develop relationships, and all of a sudden they just cut off on some bullshit and say fucking nothing. Black women, y'all just full of shit. And then please don't let me talk about the stories that I hear from my female clients and or male, black male and female clients over the years, in terms of what experiences they have had growing up with their black mamas. Because I'm just focused on black mamas right now. I'm focused on black women. I'm focused on myself as a woman and the black women. What the fuck y'all doing? Because it's time for us to clean this shit up. Black women, get your shit together. It's time for us to do some fucking work. And y'all need to stop and look at your goddamn self and the shit you're doing. It's ridiculous. It's hurtful. It's so sad. And don't even get to the societal level. I could think about the societal level in terms of professors. I had a black female professor. She was, even asked her, she was a deaconess. She is, as far as I still know. I don't know what's going on with her life today. However, she's a deaconess, PhD level black social worker. Yeah, she was my matron of honor at my second wedding. She and her husband buried my husband because her husband has a funeral service business, and now she works in partnership with him in the funeral service business. I don't believe she's teaching it. I don't know when she stopped teaching. At any rate, the things that transpired with my husband in the funeral, that was like showed me a part of her, a side of her that was just like unfucking believable. It's hurtful. And I haven't heard anything from her in the 11 years since my husband's passing. and they funeralized my husband. And after that, I haven't heard anything. She hasn't reached out to me. Hasn't said shit to me. I reached out to her. I think that even since my husband passed, yeah, we did a conference together. She did a conference with me in the first year, 2015, Black Social Work. I did a presentation at NABSW. We did it together. The second year, we didn't do it together. She couldn't deal with me. She didn't want to handle me. She didn't want to deal with me. Didn't want to deal with me. My truth. Couldn't handle it. Cut me off. People just cut me the fuck off. And I understand because of the empath that I am. That's because of the spirit, the Sybil that I am. That people have a very difficult time maintaining an active, healthy connection. And so many of them have been programmed to reject me, Mama Earth. We Black women who see the shit and are ready to call it out, demand, and encourage you to clean it the fuck up. Look at your damn self. Learn how to close these two eyes. Breathe in through the nose and out through the lips. That's the work. Excuse me. Whew. So I, was hoping my sister was going to join me tonight for a meeting. It seems she wasn't able to make it. Life is happening for us in such a way. Times really kind of tough. Excuse me. I guess that's two sneezes, and I see the time, and that means it's time to get ready to wrap up. Huh? Um, yeah, like I said, I was hoping my sister would be able to join me tonight. It seems she's not able. The sister who I am still connected with or have some contacts. Those are other sisters who are civils as well, who are very deep empaths like myself. And we're going through and growing through what we're going and growing through. And it's a lot of shit. I feel grateful today. I am grateful today that I do not have children on this planet. And that I do not have to be involved with the mess that's on this planet right now. And please, I don't know why I'm so stuffy right now. I probably need to take another shot. This fire shit. However, yeah, what can I say? Being grateful on this quote unquote Thanksgiving Day. And this is a day and a time we focus on gratitude and the things we're grateful for. In my meditation today, the focus was on gratitude for my senses, being grateful for our senses. And I have good sense, and all my senses still work. I can see, hear, smell, taste, and feel shit. Sight, sound, smell, touch, taste. And they all work well. And I'm going to be talking about the shit that I see with Black women, shit I hear you say. I'm going to talk about some of the things people say. And yeah, I don't know. Just look at that. Boy, you could smell shit a mile away, right? You could smell bullshit a mile away. And, you know, the challenge I present to Black women who hear me, who hear and see me, have some respect, I would challenge and encourage you to, what was I going to say? I mean, just take a breath, step back, and look at yourself. Are there ways that you see yourself playing out the programming of white supremacy? Do you conduct business in a way that ignores the lower class Black folk? Do you work to quote unquote capitalize off of Blacks with money? Business is about capitalizing on people's pain. I have a hard time with that. I'm not looking to necessarily capitalize off your pain. Yeah, and at the same time, if I'm gonna help you and I can help you, I need to be paid for that. That part, so it's like a very thin fucking line. It's a major balancing act. And I don't know how many people really pay attention to that. They don't work for balance. They're like, fuck it, I'm just going on the other side and stay there. Fuck that balance and shit. The hell with that side over there. That's the part that I have a hard time, and I'm still working to adjust to and adjust with and sit with. However, because I know now that I know, now that I know what I know about business and Black women and how you're doing business, I just want to say, fuck, you're full of shit. The Black women are so far, a lot of Black women I work with, and a lot of them that I work with, they just like, they are fully infected, what I call fully infected, code red. Code red on my scale of infestation with European cultural thought and behavior. They're fucking code red, fully infested, actively, gloriously, and gleefully, and righteously playing that shit out. And they look at some of us as so much below them. And in some ways, economically, I may be quote unquote below you on the economic scale. And then, of course, when you look at European cultural thought and behavior and American society, you recognize that folks who are on the lower economic scale are viewed as what? Fodder for the motherfuckers on the upper level. And Black women up on that upper level behave in the same way as their white counterparts, i.e., Oprah Winfrey, Gayle King, who else? Other Black women, all the entertainers and shit. All those Black fucking entertainers in the upper echelons, they all behave according to European programming. And in order, if you're interested in recovering, reclaiming your cultural self, your cultural voice, then you have to take step one and admit that your fucking ass is behaving in a way, the same way Europeans has taught us all to behave. And you are continuing in that shit. Your African life and your African culture is fucking unmanageable for you unless and until you fucking admit that. It's likely to be very challenging for you to take the next step, which moves to recognizing, accepting that there's another pathway, the African way. I can't, the creators can support me in growth and change from this shit that I'm in. And recognize that you're stuck in some shit in order what to keep making money, because that's what business is about, money making. And, what else can I say? That's all I have for you tonight in this meeting, tonight on this Thanksgiving Day. Happy holidays. Hit the subscribe button if you like to hear a little bit more. You can join me or what. I'm still reconnecting and learning this shit. I'm gonna say this, yeah, what was it, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, internet and shit. I was very active. There's a time I was very active on, social media. And I lost that connection when my husband passed away back in 2013. And I have been coming back to it now, having come out of that grief stage that I was in. And because after my husband passed away in 2013, then my oldest sister passed, and my father passed, and my next sister passed, and my next sister passed. So I kind of been in it for a minute. And I'm coming out. And I'm coming back out. I'm coming out. I'm going to come out. Um, so that's kind of where I am. Yet I was just thinking, and I was recognizing earlier today how I remember 15, 20 years ago wanting to respond to somebody on video. Like if I could just click the video and say what I want to say, because I have a hard time sitting and writing all this shit, typing all this shit and all these words. Words for me, when I start typing and writing the word, when my mind is focused on something, I become flooded, and I'm working to calm that shit down, calm that emotional energy. Because when you think, you feel. When I begin to think about the things that I'm working to talk about and write about, I feel, because I'm experiencing this shit myself every goddamn day. Now, I'm not sure what other professionals, how they manage, if do they feel the shit you're talking about? When you are exposing the injustices that are happening in the lives of individuals, families, and groups? How do we talk about that when you're also experiencing it? How do I talk about that in a very controlled, rational, professional tone, and not get gut level fucking honest and get to cussing and shit, in order to break some shit down? That's me. I'm gonna break it down in my language and the way I think and how I practice. And I believe that could be helpful for others. It certainly has supported and helped me with being where I am and knowing what I know. And I'd like to share that with you. So, if you're interested, again, hit the subscribe, hit the like, the follow, the share, and all that shit, because now I know. Now I know. This is what I know. When I started out on this internet, YouTube, social media, even Facebook and all this shit 15 years ago, now I understand the whole shit about algorithms and how they were blocking many voices like my own, because our voices were the voices to be silenced and to be shut down. And I suspect that is still at play. I suspect that I am still under those sanctions and controls, that my videos will not gain a whole lot of traction, because there has been a mark on my head from way back when, as being the symbol, the voice that I apparently speak with, that I'm still learning to respect and appreciate for myself, that I do speak with a certain level of power that seems to scare people, especially Black women, Christian asses. That I'm gonna talk about them next time. All right, I don't want to get into. I want to get into that tonight. Black women are Christian. The Black Christian women, those are the Worse. Oh, because I didn't say, yeah, back there, 2020, 2010, with the black woman and the administrative assistant and the supervisor, they were all quote unquote Christian women, black Christian women who went to church on Sundays with their family and talked shit and quote scriptures. The deaconess, doctor of social, deaconess in the Christian church. Same shit. It's been these black women in the Christian origin. Now, my oldest sister wasn't a Christian. She was a Muslim. She was in Islam for a bit before she came out of that. However, women in Islam also on the communal level. See, my experiences with black women on the communal level, I interacted with black women who were Muslim sisters, and they do the same shit that the fucking Christian women do, black women. The same shutting down bullshit. Voices that ask questions to reveal truth. And people don't want that. And that's me. I'm going to ask some questions about some shit. And when they don't want to answer the questions, they just shut you the fuck down. And that recently happened to me. A coach presented a package that she's offering. I just fucking go, I ask a couple questions before I sign up. I want to sign up, but for this amount of money, I got a couple of questions about the fucking product. But because I asked questions about the product, I was told that the shit wasn't for me. Well, that's business fucking world with wealthy people. That's why you go wealthy shit. They don't put prices on these shit because if you need to know the price, then that means you can't afford it and therefore get the fuck out. That's pretty basically what she told me in her, oh, well, traumatized. If if not for you, it doesn't seem like this is for you because I asked a question. You want to answer the question I asked you to tell me the shit ain't for me. That kind of bullshit. What kind of bullshit is that? Wasting away and not allowed to fucking ask questions. Because if you ask questions to a business person when you're dealing with business shit, in business, you're not supposed to ask questions. You're supposed to buy the shit and accept whatever the fuck they give you. No, no, don't work like that. However, that seems to be the way the world works. Man, it don't work like that for me. I don't work like that. They'll fuck you and your shit. That's where I'm at. Like, oh, okay, you gonna fuck me? Well, fuck you too, yo. Let me figure out my out. I gotta find a exit to stage fucking left. Because if I can't fucking ask a question, then let me get the fuck out of here. Ain't nothing up in here for me. Anyway, that's all for the night, y'all. Thanks for listening to me share. Join me every night. I'm here at 9 o'clock. That's the plan, 9 o'clock right now. For a quick RNA meeting where I get to share my shit and share some shit that I see. And I'm about to be out. Y'all have a good night and stay safe during this holiday season. All right, peace.